Hey, what's up everyone? This is SpiderFan 101, and I'm here today to talk about the newest episode of Big Hero 6. Now, obviously I'm not in my bedroom, because since I have a movie to go to, I'm going to see Ocean's 8. I have to make this review as quick as possible, but I'm still going to get into the deets. So, the episode starts off. Hero and Baymax are at home, and they're getting ready to do movie night. Actually, they're on their way back to their house to do movie night because they're out doing some hero stuff, and they're worried because, they have to get back as fast as possible before she realizes something is up. So, they get there in time. They're hiding behind this curtain thing. And, they have their suits on underneath. That's why they're hiding, of course. And so the next day goes by. Hero and Baymax get to the lab. Go and the others are there. Yeah, they're outside Crytek, waiting for this huge rich people event to happen at Crytek. And so they get inside. They're sitting there. Hero's like, so guys, what am I gonna do about Aunt Cass, Every second she's like this close to find out my true identity. And Gogo's like, hey, why don't you tell her your true identity? And of course Hero does not think this is a good idea. So before they can even finish the conversation, the event starts. Alistair Craig comes in. He shows everyone this new technology that he built. That is his little drone that basically protects the user or defends them from like attacks or something. And this ends up going pretty well with the audience, Alice was like, pre-order now at the end of the show. And, Hero, like, they come up to him at the end of the show. They're like, hey, you put safeguards in these drones, right? Like, they're not going to go all, Skynet on us, right? Like, they don't actually say Skynet, but, they're not going to go all Skynet on us, right? And they're like, yeah, there are definitely safeguards. Like, I'm definitely not lying to you right now, wink, wink. There are definitely not safeguards. There are definitely safeguards. And his assistant says the same thing. So obviously they're not buying this for a second. We cut to Cray's office. The door open. He walks in, but the door opens again by itself. I'm like, what is that? And then this guy wearing a cloaking device, the same one that the drones use, is basically like he sneaks in there. He says, hey, you said you were going to use my device for fun. He's like, I did use them for fun. He's like, you're using them to hurt people. And he's like, no, I'm using them to defend people. And then he's like I demand to get my invention plans back. And then Alistair takes them, puts them in this secret cabinet, and has the drones take them out of his room, his office. And so once that happens, we that they go back to we cut back to the lab, and we see that they're all talking about Hero's identity crisis or identity situation. And he's like, maybe if we get Aunt Cass a date, then that'll solve my problems. And then Gogo says that he should leave himself out of her personal life. And so, out of nowhere, Alistair Craig shows up to the lab. And he's like, okay, I lied to you guys. There are no safeguards. So, you need to make it so that there are safeguards in here. I'm going to give you this. You need to make it so that there are safeguards. Then he's like, and Hero's like, what's in it for us? Then Alistair Cray says something really, really gangster. He says, what's in it for you is that I don't tell the world or San Francisco that you're Big Hero 6. Now, how he found out their identity, I have no clue. Like, maybe he saw them unmasked at the final scene, at the final battle of the movie. And he's like, wow, they're Big Hero 6. That's interesting. I don't know how, like, unless that happened, I don't know how he found out. But yeah, so they have that going on. And then, once Alistair Cray's about to leave, he bumps into Aunt Cass. They get the googly eyes at each other, which I'm like, ugh. Ugh. Nah, man. Nah. So, yeah, turns out that she goes on a date with Alistair, and Hero is not having this. So, once they go out on their date, him and Baymax follow her, or follow them. Baymax calls a diversion so that Hero could get in, and he's holding up this garbage bag. He's like, garbage bag in front of the chef, which ultimately gives Hero the opportunity to get inside. And so they're making like Alistair and Aunt Cass are making like these origami out of money. I'm just like, ugh. And so Hero's like sneaking around. He's going under these trays. And this waiter's about to come up with this like spaghetti platter. Hero trips him, and the spaghetti gets all over Alistair. And Alistair get mad. He's about to punch the waiter. Like, it looks like he's about to punch the waiter. But he looks at Aunt Cass, he's like, you know what? I'm definitely not gonna fire you right now. As a matter of fact, thank you for this. I needed to put on some new clothes. Here, have $20. And so he goes to the bathroom to change his stuff. And then the guy we saw earlier with the invisible cloak thing comes in. He basically traps him in the bathroom and disguises himself as him. And so him and Aunt Cass go back to Kraytech. And while this is happening, we cut back to the lab. Wasabi, Fred, Go-Go, Honey Lemon, they're all testing on this bot, this drone. And Fred comes in with these drinks and food. So he, like the clumsy person that he is, tips the drink over the robot. And it goes haywire and starts shooting lasers at everybody. And then once they get it down, or pin it down, and like, yeah, this is definitely not safe. So we cut back to Hero. We cut back to Hero as he's chasing after them, and he's on this moped with Alistair Cray behind him. And he's like, alright, we gotta go to Kraytech. So the imposter, he goes over to Kraytech. He gets his planes back. And he turns around. Not only has Big Hero 6 there, but the real Alistair Cray is there too. And so he's basically trapped because, you know, he's got nowhere to go. And so he puts out 3 bots immediately behind him. And they start shooting lasers and everything, and they go invisible and start shooting them and then trapping them in rope. And all of the Big Hero 6 eventually are caught in these ropes. And so the imposter gets away, but Baymax ends up, you know, destroying almost all the drones before, you know, he gets tied up. So the imposter goes back to the limo, and Aunt Cass is still in here showing the chauffeur pictures of Mochi. And so she knows that he comes in, but he's not wearing like the Alistair Cray face over him. So she's like, who are you? He's like, no time to explain, go, 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 go. And the drones are following him, and Wasabi cuts Hiro out of the rope, and Hiro gets Baymax out of the rope, and then they go chasing after the limo. And then, once the limo gets to a certain point, once they think that they lost him, because Hiro and Baymax basically take out the drones that were behind them, one more drone shows up, flies through the glass of the window, and they've already gotten out of the limo at this point. They're running, and Baymax's fist, and once they think they're about to, bite the dust because of this drone in front of them, Baymax's fist comes out of nowhere. Baymax's rocket fist comes out of nowhere and destroys it. And so, the end of the episode, the guy gets arrested, and Alistair sues him. And thank goodness Alistair Cray and Aunt Cass did not get together, because I would just be like, ugh, the entire time. That ship is, I think, worse than the Raylo ship. Like, it's horrible. And the episode ends with Hiro and Baymax in Hiro's room. Hiro has the rocket fist in his hand, and Anka is basically fixing something outside the restaurant or the house, and he throws it away because he doesn't want her to see it. Rocket fist goes and flies into the roof, and that's where the episode ends. Honestly, I really like this episode. I think it's a step up. Like, the entire season so far has been great, but this episode is definitely one of my favorites, and I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10 because I really like this episode. I think it's definitely one of their best episodes out of the many that are great. So, let me know in the comments down below what you think. Peace.